Hi, this is Alex from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today, book of the Berenstain Bears and 2 Months Card Trip from 2006. So let's get started. It was just about vacation time for the Bear family. Brother and sister Bear knew where they wanted to go on vacation. Brother choice was Great Grizzly Land. Cousin Fred been there twice, he said. He says it has all the biggest stepping or steepest, fastest rides. Sister had a different idea. She wanted to go to Wild White Water Kingdom. Lizzie went there last year and she said it's awesome. It got a white water ride where everybody has to wear a bathing suit. It got a poo that makes a huge wave, a corkscrew water slide, and I'm sure those places are fun, interrupted Papa Bear, but we're going on a different sort of vacation this year. Oh, said Brother, where are we going? We're going on a car trip, said Papa. As a matter of fact, I'm planning it right now on this road map. He was seated at the dinner table. He had a big map spread out on it. A car trip, said the Cubs. That's what the Cubs said, but that not what they were thinking. What they were thinking was, oh no, not a car trip. Not a long, boring car trip. A car trip to where? Asked Brother. Your mother and I have decided that it's time for you two to see more of the country, said Papa. Sister would puzzle. What country is that? She asked. Papa looked up from the map. Why, bear country, of course, he said. What kind of vacation is that? Asked Brother. We can see bear country any old time. Yeah, said Sister. We can just look out the window. Besides, said Brother, what's there to see? There was a great deal to see, said Papa, and a great deal more to appreciate. So why don't you just sit there beside me and I'll show you where we're going on this map. They climbed up on the chair beside Papa and looked at the map. It didn't look like much of a vacation to the Cubs. It looked like just what it was, a big, boring map. What do you two think of our vacation plans? Asked Mama Bear, coming into the room with baby Honey. Is Honey coming with us on this car trip? Asked Sister. Goodness no, said Mama. She's not old enough to appreciate a trip like this. I have arranged for Honey to stay with Gramps and Grant while we're away. Lucky Honey, thought the Cubs. She gets to have fun with Gramps and Grant while we have to go on a long, boring car trip. You know, said Brother, baby Honey is a lot of work. Why don't we stay and help Gramps and Grant while you two go on the car trip? Mama and Papa didn't think that was just a good idea. They packed up and left early the next morning. After saying their goodbye to baby Honey, Gramps and Grant, they headed for the open road. Mama knew how the Cubs felt, so she bought along things for them to do during the car trip. She bought crayons, a book of mazes, and some board games, but the Cubs was so determined to be bored, they ignored the things Mama had bought them. They just sat there in the back of the car with their arms folded. Since they was looking straight ahead, the Cubs didn't notice that the country around them was changing. The trees was getting bigger and wilder. The land was getting. They didn't even notice the wide blue sky filled with great white clouds sailing over the broad country. But there was something they did notice, a distant roaring sound. It's hard to say bored when there's a distant roaring sound that's getting louder and louder. What was that roaring sound? Asked brother. That's honeymoon fall, said Mama. It's where Papa and I spent our honeymoon. Just then they turned the corner and there it was. A ton of water was pouring over a cliff and crashing into the river below. Brother and sister forgot all about being bored and said, wow. They parked the car and went to the honeymoon point overlooking the fall. They had to rent stickers to keep from getting drenched. I bet they don't have anything like this at Wild White Water Kingdom, shouted sister over the roar. There's something I don't quite understand, Mama, she added, as they headed back to the car. If you was here on the honeymoon, how come I don't remember it? Mama and Papa just looked at each other and brother whispered, we wasn't even born yet, Sully. That gave sister something to think about on the next leg of their car trip. Hey, look, shouted brother. Soldiers fighting. They're shooting at each other. Nothing to worry about, son, said Papa. They are just shooting blanks. They are reacting. Huh? What's reacting? Asked brother. They are folks that act out important things that happened a long time ago. What are they what are they reacting, asked sister? Whoops. Papa looked at the map. Hmm. I say it's the Battle of Creek. See the streams? That's the creek. Who was doing the fighting? Asked brother. Folks just like us, said Papa. What was they fighting about? Asked sister. You know, countries don't just happen, said Papa. Folks have to make them happen, and sometimes there's trouble. That's what the reaction wants us to think about. Sometimes you can learn from the past and do a better job in the future. Look over there behind that low wall. The cub looked. See those stones? Asked Papa. They mark the graves of the soldiers who fought in the battle. Brother started to say wow, but nothing came out. Sister took hold of Mama's hand and leaned against her. Back on the road, they went uphill for a long time. They passed a sign that said elevation 7,610 feet. What's that sign mean, ex-brother? We're in Great Grizzly Mountains, and that's how high we are, said Mama. That's when they turned a corner and found themselves looking down the steepest, narrowest, windiest road they had ever seen. The wind rushed past as they plunged down the mountain. Whoosh, said brother as they got to the bottom. I bet they don't have anything like that at Great Grizzly Land. That's a pretty safe bet, said Papa. They passed a sign that said, now entering Bear Country Natural Park, home of Mount Grismore. What's a natural park, Mama? Asked sister. It's a park that belongs to the whole country, said Mama. What's Mount Grismore? Asked brother. It's a special mountain, said Papa. What's special about it? Asked Sister. You'll see in a minute, dear, said Mamma. Mount Grismore came into view as they came out of a clump of trees, and it really was special. It had three enormous faces carved in its side. Who are they? Asked Brother from the observation area. They're some of the great heroes of Bear Country history, said Papa. Their faces are carved in the mountains so we won't forget them. Brother and sister looked up at the great faces. A picture came into Brother's mind, eyes that showed the three historic faces, but there was another one too. It was the face of Brother Bear. A penny for your thoughts, son, said Papa. I was just thinking how this trip is a lot different from what I expected, he said. Of course, there was a lot more that happened during the Bear family car trip. There was spilt drinks, bathroom stops, a lot, sticky lollipop, souvenir stops, motel stops, and all the other things that usually goes with car trips. But that's not what the Cubs remember. What they remember was the big sky, the great falls, the mighty mountain, the little graveyard at Creek, and the heroes of Bear Country history in the side of a mountain. Baby Honey Bear was asleep when they picked her up at Gramps and Gramps and headed home. You know something, Papa, said Brother, as they climbed the steps of the treehouse. We ought to take Honey on a car trip sometime when she's old enough to appreciate it. Of course, said Papa. So that was the Berenstain Bears and Too Much Car Trip from 2006. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a good video with another video coming out real soon.